So if you're thinking of moving to San Antonio, you are probably trying to figure out what is the best neighborhood to move to. Well, how exactly do you figure out which one is the safest, which one has the best schools, which one is in the best location, and which one just overall has the best that San Antonio has to offer? Well, I'll make it easy for you. Stone Oak in northern San Antonio might just be the best option when it comes to every single one of these things. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why, along with giving you a few negatives that maybe you didn't know about Stone Oak there at the end. So like I do in all the videos, be sure that you pause and take notes. If you have any questions, make sure that you're commenting them down below. It is going to go quick. It is going to be a lot of information. So we're going to get started right now. We're going to talk about the safety ratings. We're going to talk about the school ratings. We're also going to talk about what makes this location so great. We're going to talk about some different things with housing, cost of housing in Stone Oak, and then also different styles of homes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I personally love it and why I even consider buying a house here. And then we're also going to talk about those negatives that I mentioned. And those negatives are pretty big, but they're not super unpredictable if you're any kind of familiar with San Antonio or Texas in general. Just think property taxes and HOAs. Believe it or not, this area called Stone Oak now used to be a ranch land back in the 80s. The 80s was when it got developed. That was whenever it all started. Currently, Stone Oak is a neighborhood within a bigger area that everybody kind of calls Stone Oak. And then within Stone Oak, you have a bunch of other, smaller neighborhoods as well. So the area of Stone Oak kind of starts at the corner of 1604 and Blanco Road, goes up north, right to the southern edge of Timberwood Park, goes east over towards TPC San Antonio and JW Marriott area, and then back down south to 1604. So it kind of covers that whole area. If you ever hear me talking about the Stone Oak area, that's the area that I'm talking about. So like I mentioned just a second ago, Stone Oak was an area that me and my wife actually considered buying a home in at one point in time. This was going to be the area that we bought our very first home together in. And we were very close to doing it too. We put a couple offers in on homes, but just never worked out. One of the reasons that we really love this area was because it's kind of the start of the Texas Hill Country. Bulverde up north of Stone Oak is really what they call the front porch of the Texas Hill Country. But once you get into Stone Oak, up that north area of 1604, the hills start to come out. You start to get a lot of really steep topography. A lot of these neighborhoods are on some really hilly stretches, so some of these lots are pretty steep and kind of make for some really interesting style homes. I mean, if you're driving down some of these streets, you can see some of these foundations that are literally 30 feet high off the ground on the back sides or on the front sides even in some cases. So it's kind of interesting like that. It makes for some pretty cool little houses though. So another big benefit too is that Stone Oak is actually home to some of the better hospitals in San Antonio outside of the medical center over on the northwest side of San Antonio. It is also home to a very large population of retirees. So because of the amount of golf courses and really good golf courses here like Sonterra and TBC San Antonio and then Canyon Springs, there are quite a few retirement communities, garden home communities, lock it and leave it style homes, those kind of things that really draw a lot of people that are, retired and love the golfing side of things. But really, ultimately, what it came down to whenever we were looking at homes here is the schools and the location for where it was. It was going to be super close to where we were working at the time, and we were thinking long term that this was going to be a spot that our kids could go to school. So that's kind of what we're going to start off with now. We're going to start off with safety first. A lot of people would consider Stone Oak as the safest place to be in all of San Antonio. And I want you to do your own research though. So I can technically not tell you exactly what I think as far as what is safe and what is not, but I can point you in the right direction for these safety ratings. The ones that I always look at, I look at Neighborhood Scout, and then I also look at go straight to the source, the San Antonio Police Department crime map. So in the crime map, you can see, just zooming out on this map, you can see there's crime all over the place. Obviously, it's just the nature of big cities, right? Most of them are kind of closed into like the highways and the commercial centers and those kind of areas. But if you look at Stone Oak, this is everything that has happened this year. Every call that's come in San Antonio Police Department this year, you can see Stone Oak is up there at north. There's very few out there. there's like 5 or 6 calls out of the entire year so far. So, and it's a big area too. You also look at Neighborhood Scout. So Neighborhood Scout has specific ratings and they rank things too. So if you're looking at the top 6 neighborhoods, top 6 areas, I don't know if they go by zip codes or what, but the top 6 areas that they have here, you'll see Stone Oak area has 4 out of the top 6. Next is the school ratings for Stone Oak. But before we get into that and all the other pluses and minuses that make Stone Oak the best possible neighborhood for you in San Antonio, I want to remind y'all that I am completely an open book here, and if y'all have any questions whatsoever about moving to Stone Oak or moving to San Antonio in general, please do not hesitate to reach out. I've literally lived here my entire life. I know this place like the back of my hand, and I absolutely love to help people just like you move here to San Antonio, and I've helped a ton of people do just that. Whether you're moving to San Antonio in 2 days or 2 years, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, reach out any way you can, guys. I am here to help you guys with that move to San Antonio. And of course, make sure you're checking out the rest of the channel and subscribe if you don't mind. I would say probably the main reason that most people actually call me to move to Stone Oak is because of these schools. They want to put their kids in these schools, and it's very, very obvious why. For me, I look at the source, right? I look at the ratings specifically. If you look at txschools.gov, that is my go-to. It is the state's ratings based off of their accountability rankings and all the different things that they rate the schools on. So it's very black and white. I'm a numbers guy. I have an engineering degree, so that's just my nature. I look at that. Gradeschools.org is another one that you can look at, but that's more like parent ratings, so you can get some kind of squirrely little things that go on in there. So txschools.gov is what I look for. And so this one specifically, you can see right here, every school in Stone Oak is an A rating or a B rating. I mean, the only B rated schools in the entire area are Las Lomas Elementary and Canyon Ridge Elementary, and those happen to be 89 and 86 ratings also. So I mean, those are barely even B's, so they're very well could be A ratings when it's all said and done. The other good thing about Northeast ISD, which is the district that covers the Stone Oak area, is that they have some outstanding, extracurricular, not extracurricular, educational programs. They have some really good special education programs if you have a child with special needs that needs something like that. They have very good bilingual programs. They also have what they call magnet programs. So these are programs to get your kids ready for the real world. They have STEM, the science, technology, and math, engineering and math. They have the data science. They have cybersecurity. They have agri-science. They have arts and international studies. I mean, they have just about everything that you can imagine as part of a program that your child can go through to get ready for the real world and get ready for college also. Now, one of the great things that I absolutely love about San Antonio, and I talk about it all the time, is that San Antonio does not feel like a big city. It feels much more like a small town, smaller city environment than the Dallases, Austins, and Houstons of the world. Stone Oak is the epitome of this concept. It only takes 20 minutes to get downtown to the Riverwalk, 15 minutes to get to La Cantera or the Rim for shopping, 30 minutes to get all the way across town to Lackland Air Force Base if that's where you're commuting to, which is right there by the medical center on Northwest San Antonio if that's where you're commuting to also. And as a true reference to the absolute awesomeness is San Antonio as far as commuting times, it only takes to get 45 minutes to get all the way across to the south side of town to get to the Toyota manufacturing plant. I mean, literally the complete opposite side of town. Another great reason for the Stone Oak location is that it is super close to the northern areas of the hill country called, like Canyon Lake, and then you got the Guadalupe River State Park if you like the outdoors and like to get out there and do those kind of things. It's also really close to New Braunfels, probably 40 minutes to get to New Braunfels. All those places, easy day trips to get out of Stone Oak and just go do something for the weekend. Style of Stone Oak is really hard not to love. I already kind of mentioned that this is kind of the start of the hill country, so you have some really great rolling hills. It makes for some very interesting and very cool communities. I mean, whenever they were developing, it was one of the best builders that were building in this area. The style of Stone Oak is hard to not love. I mean, I already mentioned it's kind of the start of the Texas Hill Country, so you have all these big rolling hills. The other big benefit of it is that you have some really high quality homes too. Granted, you have some homes that are a little bit dated, but the builders that built whenever they were developing this neighborhood were really high-end builders. Mixed in with all these hills, you have a pretty good, healthy mix of medium-priced neighborhoods, just maybe slightly over medium-priced neighborhoods. Probably not going to find too much in the medium price point for San Antonio and Stone Oak, but then you all have that going all the way up to like the uber luxury, style homes. So you have all kinds of mixes of different qualities of homes, like I mentioned too with the hills. Some cool things that you see that are different about Stone Oak is that a lot of these houses have some pretty immaculate front elevations. I mean, because of these hills, a lot of them, it's kind of a negative that the garages are like a floor, almost a full floor below the actual part of the house. So it makes some of these houses look gigantic on the front, which is really cool, really great curb appeal, but that's kind of a negative in itself. Now, Stone Oak is not one of the most affordable places by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if you're looking at rentals, I was just looking, a couple days ago for some, and you really can't find a whole lot for under $2,500 a month in Stone Oak if you're looking for a rental. If you're buying homes, the median price of current homes for sale in Stone Oak is right under $600,000. You're only going to find about 30 or so homes that are under $400,000 in all of Stone Oak out of the 251 that are currently listed. The lowest price of that is about $322,000 for a 1,600 square foot kind of older home in one of the more affordable areas, all the way up to $3.5 million. There's actually 26 homes that are over $1 million, so almost as many $1 million homes as there are $300,000 homes in Stone Oak. Another great thing about Stone Oak is that the houses are actually all pretty good size. I mean, the median size home in Stone Oak is 3,000 square feet. Now, again, $600,000, 3,000 square feet makes sense, about $200 a square foot. That's kind of the going rate for just about everything right now. Your range is 1,600 square feet all the way up to 7,500 square feet, just for reference in Stone Oak. I mean, so you got just about everything there. Some of the more affordable neighborhoods you're going to find if you're looking for that kind of median to $400,000 home, you're going to look at Bulverde Village, you're going to look at Encino Bluff, Encino Forest, and then Panther Creek. I mean, so those are just some of the main ones. If you're looking for like a retirement golf course style community, Sonterra and Cibolo Canyons over by TPC San Antonio are by far the two most popular ones. And if you're looking for some of the uber luxury neighborhoods, you're looking at the Pinnacle, you're looking at Sonterra as well, the Heights at Stone Oak, and then the Estates at Champions Run. So you ready for the negatives? Stone Oak is not all sunshine and rainbows like I typically say whenever it comes to a lot of these neighborhoods, but there's always negatives for every spot, right? So in Stone Oak specifically, our roughly average property tax rate is 2.467. That's where you're going to find most of it, especially in Stone Oak proper. That's the tax rate. Now, if you're going to other places, if you're going over to Cibolo Canyons, there's some areas that are around 2.5 to 2.567-ish range. But as you get further north, kind of getting out of the city limits, you actually start to get a little bit lower. There's some areas with 1.99% tax rates, 2.01, 2.05. I mean, a couple different areas that have some pretty affordable tax rates too. So the plus and minuses there. If you're in Stone Oak proper, you're going to pay a little bit more than the average, which is 2.35% in San Antonio. But again, it's not a huge difference. But again, another thing to think about too is it's not based off what you're buying the home for. It's based off what the tax appraiser assesses your home for. That's what you're paying the tax value on. So the Stone Oak area being a higher quality area, higher priced area, those rates typically are going to go and create, some higher taxable values that make your overall tax bill a little bit more than, say if it was, in the city in like the northeast corner of San Antonio down in the city. The other big thing that I always get questions about all the time is the HOAs. Stone Oak is a place where if you're going to live there, you're going to be in an HOA. There's very, very high chance. I mean, I think there's like 2 that aren't in an HOA. There's just random ones that just happen to be on the side of the road somewhere else, right? So those things are just what you're going to have to deal with if you want to be in the Stone Oak area. But it's not all, negative like a lot of people talk about. They're not going to control your life and tell you how you can paint your walls inside your house. There's a lot of them that are a little bit more strict than others. Some of them you even have to pay 2 HOAs. Like if you're in Stone Oak proper, you have to pay the Stone Oak POA fees, and then you also will have your individual neighborhood. Like if you're in like the Sonterra or whatever else, you're gonna have to pay Sonterra and Stone Oak, and then there's a couple other neighborhoods that are like that. If you're within Stone Oak proper, so you got multiple HOAs in a lot of cases. So really, typically, what you're gonna be looking at if you're in the Stone Oak area, you're gonna be paying around $500 to $900 a year in HOA fees, unless you're in one of these, higher quality, guarded, gated communities like the Sonterra, like the Cibolo Canyons. There, you're probably going to pay over $1,000 a year for your HOA fees. And it's just a trade-off. You just got to figure out if that's worth it for you. You got to look at the property taxes, look at the HOA fees, look at everything like you typically would. Make sure you find an agent that's helping you do all of that. I can help you go through all of that if you have questions on it. To figure out if it's going to fall in your budget to be in Stone Oak, and if being in those schools, being in this safe area, being in this location is really what makes everything worth it to pay a little bit extra on top with those HOA fees and those property taxes. Like I already said once, do not forget to reach out if you have any questions at all about moving to San Antonio and if you need help. And if you want to check out this video about the true nitty-gritty cost of living in San Antonio, take a look at this video right here. It's one of my more recent ones that I just did. Let me know what you think in the comments. Reach out if you have any questions. See you in the next one.